New student convocation orientation is just around the corner. Here to share some tips with families with students getting ready to start college is Stephanie Auwaerter, Director of Orientation at the College of Charleston. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Always an exciting time of year, I'm sure,
yes,
for you. Exciting insofar as a lot of activity going on. But here we are. We're just on the cusp of these kids going back to school, going to college for the first time.
It's August, it's time, and so we've been working all summer in welcoming students and families to the College of Charleston.
Yeah.
And wanted to share a few tips we have for families who are getting ready to have their student go to any college. I think these tips will help out.
Yeah, and I can't wait to hear. I never was at a college where I was in a dorm or living apart from my family, so that's not a concept that I'm familiar with. What would you say are the first things that parents should consider, should think of, should talk to their kids about when they kind of sever those ties,
Yeah.
they cut the apron strings?
Right. Well, first, I think one of the first tips is to talk about communication and how often are you going to communicate. You know, mom and dad are used to seeing
Every
you
day.
every day, yeah, under their roof, and here you won't be. And so setting that up and trying to figure out so they're not upset and worried, you know, how often do you plan to communicate, and what's the expectation of, if I text you from the parent, how soon will the student get back with you? They might be in class, you know, they're not supposed to have their phones out, or they might be hanging out with the new friends they've made. So think about the positive. Think if they don't get back with you right away, that they're actually having fun or maybe studying or working with a professor.
Yeah.
Thinking about that before you worry about, oh my gosh, they're hurt or something's happened to them.
And the experience, having gone to college and just experiencing that for the first time, it's a little overwhelming. You're seeing a lot of new faces for the first time. You're exploring new corners of campus that you never saw before. And so for students, that creates a lot of anxiety. So how do you kind of quell those fears, calm them down?
Right. I think just to remind students what the resources are that they have. If they're worried about, oh my gosh, I went to this first class and I'm never going to be able to learn all this info. I'm never going to be able to do all that. Well, parents helping remind the students of the resources that exist on campus. So I'm sure the faculty are there to help. Some students will say, well, that person has a doctorate. They don't want to sit and help me. Yes, they do. That's why they're here at this college teaching and working. Also, all schools have some sort of tutoring or academic support center. So using those resources that usually come along, you know, free as we say, but with the tuition, that students should use those and utilize those, and they can be a real help. We find at the College of Charleston that we have data that shows the more time students go to our academic support center called the Center for Student Learning, the better their GPA is. So definitely they want to use all those resources.
Absolutely.
And also parents need to stop and ask, do you want me to do something about it or do you just want me to listen?
Yes.
Sometimes they just want you to listen. They don't need you to go fix it. They don't need you to
be the sounding board, mom and dad.
Don't have to go fix. Just listen and maybe offer, you know, a bit or two of advice.
Yeah. So. Okay. All right. Now you were mentioning, you know, teachers and professors, instructors who want to be there for the students. We're talking about mentoring, coaching between academics, on and off site housing. There's always an opportunity to get to know someone that can be that person in your corner.
Yes.
So how do you get to know those people, and what are some of the tools that these new students should come equipped with to better assimilate, socialize?
Yeah, so definitely go to things. You know, your faculty is going to have office hours, and you'll have an academic advisor. Go take those appointments with your advisor. You know, if you have a question, follow up with an email. That gets to build that relationship with them. And then don't forget past professors. You know, so I think sometimes students think, well, I had them last semester. They wouldn't help me now be a reference, or they're not going to help me with this internship that I heard about, but I need more info and I don't know. Also, every department usually has a wonderful administrative assistant or office manager who runs that department. And boy, those are the people to know, because those folks know, you know, the deadlines and the details of how you get paperwork done and all that. And we're always there to be a resource for them all year round.
And gumption goes a long way. Just being proactive goes a long way.
Yes.
And finally, just to get some of the technicalities out of the way as well, you are going to have some streets shut down so that when students come the weekend before classes start, just expect traffic and detours.
Yes, and families, when you're moving in anywhere, they should always check what's the move-in procedure for your school. Yeah. Each school will be different. We have a procedure where we have certain streets that are shut down, and they'll send you the directions. They even said, don't use the GPS because it's not going to be the usual way to get around. So definitely check that out and make sure that you know how to move in. But yeah, downtown Charleston be a little busy, probably the whole week of August 15th. Yeah. So just pack a little patience.
Yeah, pack a little bit. And speaking of packing, parents, make sure you start those care care packages and send them off to your kids, because those are one of my favorite things to receive. It just made you know that your parents loved you so.
Yes, and that can include a printer cartridge.
Useful stuff.
Useful stuff, as well as those favorite cookies
and all those, yes.
Yeah, love them at the holiday time,
Absolutely.
especially when finals are happening. It's usually, the winter holidays, and
That's right.
it's always nice to get a little package and surprise then,
Comfort
too.
food.
Yes.
Comfort food helps.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
No
Appreciate it.
problem.
We're back after this.